Eversolo entered the UK with a range of relatively entry-level streamers and really took the industry by storm. Their latest offering is the new A10, and this is their first delve into more high-end reference systems. So in this video, we're going to take a look if the Eversolo A10 can truly match some of the industry greats at its price point. Hey guys, and today on the Video Review Diaries, we are going to take a look at the Eversolo A10. For anyone who doesn't know about the A10 yet, essentially this is Eversolo's reference all-in-one. When we say all-in-one, what we mean in this particular situation is this is a DAC, preamp and streamer. So essentially all of your digital sources in one box. Its previous model was the A8, which we have here. Now the A8 is still a current model, but however the A10 is essentially its bigger brother. This is the upgraded reference version, but of course it comes in at about twice the price as well. So the A10 comes in at just over £3,500, the A8 at around 18. So as you can see, styling wise, the A10 is a much larger. It has a full CNC machine chassis. You obviously have a massively upgraded volume knob here in the front. We have a 6.5 inch touchscreen as well. And it is obviously just a physically bigger, more robust unit, which you would expect. If you go back to the real basics, ultimately both do the same application. So both are a preamp, a DAC and a streamer. But of course, the A10 takes it to a whole new level sonically, as well as obviously, as we mentioned before, being a physically bigger unit with higher build quality. What really makes the Eversolo A10 a truly spectacular product is its feature-rich design. So, as we mentioned before, this has a real high-quality DAC. It has a very, very high quality streamer that can do 24-bit, 192. We have HDMI ARC, we have optical, we have RCA in, we have RCA out, we have XLR in, we have XLR out. We have USB, and most importantly, we have SFP fiber, which is obviously a very low noise streaming solution as well. The key thing really with the A10, of course, is the fact that it is an all-in-one unit. So unlike some other manufacturers, say like Hi-Fi Rose, for example, with the 151, this has basically everything you need in one box. So what you can do is also buy, for example, with any power amp, but Eversolo make an F10. The F10 is essentially their stereo power amplifier that you can wire straight up with this, and you essentially have a full system, just add speakers. With something like the 151 Rose, it is more of a streamer DAC, so again, you have no amplification stage in that. That means you obviously need to run a preamp and a power amp as well. So the Eversolo is ideal if you want just everything essentially in one box, add a power amp, and you're ready to go. That's really where it has huge potential. It also has really nice features as well. We have things like room correction built in to this unit. We have, obviously it covers all major streaming services. You can also add a music library into this. On the underside, you do have an area where you can add a hard drive. So if you do have anything saved on a hard drive, you can add that in as well and control the library. It obviously has its own dedicated app as well, which is really easy to use. It's very user-friendly. And ultimately, what really impresses us with the Eversolo is sonically, they are very good, but it's value for money. You are getting a huge feature-rich unit, as we have mentioned before, but sonically it definitely punches above its price point. There was a question, of course, as mentioned before, when Eversolo started bringing out more reference items like the A10 and the F10 amplifier. Could they compete with some of the bigger brands out there, or even just more established streaming DACs that are on the market? And without doubt, sonically, the the Eversolo, I should say, is an absolutely fantastic machine. It's musical, it's natural, it still controls the music very, very well. Arguably, it's maybe slightly more, not cold by any stretch of the imagination, but it's maybe not the most warm sounding streamer on the market. But by no means do I mean that it's losing that naturalness or even that musicality. It still keeps that, but if you love a very warm sound, something more valve-like, maybe the Eversolo is not quite for you. But for 90% of people, the Eversolo sound is going to be something very, very close to what you enjoy. The bass is solid. It's not overblown. We've got great three-dimensionality. Soundstage, very, very strong as well, with really, really nice, solid mid-ranges. So there's very little to complain about, really, with the A10. I was actually having a listen to this earlier on, and I actually made some notes just of some of the things that I thought were real pros and some cons as well, maybe with the unit. So I'll just actually go through a few things that I came up with. So obviously, I said before, it's feature rich. The chassis is very, very impressive. I think the build quality is really fantastic. The touchscreen is extremely responsive. I think it's a nice size. It's not sort of oversized, but it's at a good size where you can still use it very, very easily. Obviously, you have also the option to add an outboard DAC, so there is an upgrade possibility with this as well because you do have those ins. And the fact that you can do that obviously does give you that upgrade path moving forward. But obviously, if you're happy with the sound quality, it's not a necessity. It does have subwoofer outs, things of that nature as well. So again, you can add and tweak the way you like it. You have EQ curves, filters, etc. in the main menu you can go through, which I like. It gives you that sort of personal customization, which I know is important to a lot of people. So you can make the sound more like your own. The HDMI ARC I like because it obviously gives you that opportunity as well to potentially run it into your TV or a sort of a home cinema style setup, which is not going to be necessarily important for everyone, but it's nice to have that option where you can use it for both music and potentially films. Some of the drawbacks, which to be honest, when I was going through it, there was very few that I could really come up with. The only thing, as I said before, the Eversolo is quite a refined sound. So as I said before, if you really like that ultra warm sound, it's maybe not quite for you. But as I say, for 90% of people, it's natural enough that it's going to appeal very, very much to everyone. On the room correction side, I would highly recommend buying the Eversolo microphone if that's something you really want to do. The microphone on the phone, when you're using it through the app, is just not quite as detailed as I think it needs to be in order to actually get the best out of this. Obviously, on the phone, it's not designed for that purpose. So I think it's well worth the investment of buying the microphone if you want to look at the room correction, because it really does make a huge, huge difference. And I think the results are much more impressive with Eversolo's own microphone used. Obviously, its size, I suppose you could say, it depends obviously on your individual circumstances. It is considerably bigger obviously than the A8, for example, and obviously certainly much bigger than the likes of an A6 Master, for example, as well. So if size is a concern, obviously it's just something, it's going to vary from everyone's own homes, but something obviously just to check out. But really, besides that, there's very little to complain about the A10. And the other thing that we wanted to look at, as we mentioned before, is where this compares to other products in the market at that point. So another product we sell, which is actually it's close to £1,000 more expensive, but is really the closest in terms of a competition to this, is the Hi-Fi Rose RS151. Now, I have a comparison table we made out here when I was taking a look at them, and it's actually quite interesting when you go through the two products. So to start with, the RS151 Rose is just a streamer DAC. It does not have a preamp stage in it. So it's slightly different to this in the sense that this does have that amplification stage. But So that's one thing, obviously, that the Eversolo, I could say, maybe has over the Rose. However, they both still run PCM 32-bit 768 kilohertz DSD 512. So their output is pretty much similar. They both use very, very similar DAC chips. They both have internal storage if you do want to use your own storage and library. Both very similar on the networking side of things as well. The Rose does have a 15.4-inch screen as against a 6.5-inch in the Eversolo. So depending on how much this screen is of importance to you or how much you use it, that may be a factor. Both are obviously brilliantly built. But I think what actually, for us, while they are close in terms of their specs and price, it's a slightly different customer for each product. The key thing I think with the Eversolo A10 is that this is for someone who wants an all-in-one box where you're reducing the number of boxes you have, that's much more simple and easier to use. I think with the Hi-Fi Rose, that's for somebody that wants to build a bigger system around it. Where this is ultimately your main system, I think the Hi-Fi Rose is more of a networking hub. And that's, I think, the key difference. So while both products are obviously quite similar spec-wise, I think if you are looking at both products, you need to actually consider which one is right for you. So for example, if you want the simplicity of adding a power amplifier and a pair of speakers, and that's all you really want to do and reduce the number of boxes you have, the A10 is perfect. If you want to essentially use something like the 151, but you want to have external DACs, preamps, power amps, and lots more boxes and upgrade possibilities and things of that nature, and even cable upgrade possibilities, the Rose may be the better unit for you. So with these two products, I wouldn't necessarily judge them based on specs, because I think it actually comes down to your own personal needs and what you want to get out of your hi-fi system. Sonically, they are both very, very good. Again, it's quite hard to judge them side by side because, again, the Rose is more, as I say, of a network hub, whereas this is an all-in-one. So, for example, if we go and take a larger preamp, an expensive preamp, and put it in the Rose, it's unfair on the Eversolo to do that, because obviously if you have a dedicated preamp stage sitting there that's at an equivalent price of the Rose, it's going to be very hard for somebody to compete. So that's why I think the two products are similar, but do consider what you want to get out of your hi-fi system as well. But as I mentioned, if you are looking for an all-in-one, something beautifully built, beautiful sounding, at a really, really good price for the features you're getting in it, for sure, check out the Eversolo A10. As I mentioned before, there is a matching F10 power amp you can add to this to make it essentially a full system, and you can monoblock those as well. We will have a review diaries on the F10 as well shortly, so please do keep an eye on our channel for that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you a little bit of a comparison, both between what is out there as well and a competing product, but also just something to think about maybe moving forward, that when you're looking at upgrades, do consider your own personal system and what your needs are, maybe not just the specs, which is a mistake we have seen happen a few times. But I hope this has been a good overview video. I hope if you guys are interested in Eversolo, please always do feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to answer any questions you have. And again, if you're unsure as to whether this is right for you or something like the Rose may be a better option, we are more than happy to discuss that at length. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you soon in the next one.